Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. Just decided to come back live tonight. Got buddy Gavin Richard in the house once again. Um, so let me get him on.
Yo,
What's going on, man?
how you doing, brother? It's been a long time.
Glad you're back.
Thank you for having me back on, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out to
Yeah,
all
man. Been a
guests.
busy man, busy man, busy man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I don't know. Look like you got a book coming out, huh?
I'm glad. Thought you'd never ask. I thought you never asked. Yes, I have a book coming out, ladies and gentlemen. If you listened on, and shout out to Judge Joe Brown and Valerie Denise Jones. They allowed me to plug in my book. It'll be coming this fall. We have the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., the destruction of due process in the United States. If you could, Bernard, share this. This is the Facebook page that everybody could go to and hit a like, share, and subscribe button. So that way you can check out any updates that we have. I've just been waiting to, as I stated on my legal department, to have it released because there's some things I'm just trying to clear. But I put my trailer up here. We launched this on October 24th, I believe, a little bit early, October 22nd. We had the trailer launch on October 24th. So as of now, I've just been promoting the book, and it's been a good ride so far. So a lot of people can't wait. I've got people saying that they're excited about it. And I guess if I could just talk a little bit of what the book is about, it is about Bill Cosby and his legacy in part as well. But I particularly wanted to focus on why we have a presumption of innocence in the United States, why we have due process, why we have a Fifth Amendment, a Sixth Amendment. And we live in dangerous times now because those principles that we hold in law, especially as it pertains to us as Black men, have been uh, being reduced one by one with this era that we're in, where the trust and believe, trust and believe women. We don't trust with evidence. We trust based on our emotions and feelings, and that's a very dangerous thing. But it talks about his legacy. It also talks about some of the accusers. I'd be all day. I'd still be writing this book if I did a book mentioning every accuser, but that he had. But yeah, so this is a great read, and I think people won't be disappointed.
That's good. I'm glad that you put that together.
This is my second book too, so
Wait, what's the hey, Desiree? That's good. How you doing, sir? Uh, yeah. Well, I'm good. You got a second book out. So what's been going on in New Orleans? I know you had some rough time down there early in the year. Huh?
yeah. What
I mean,
I
no, not early in the year, in
well,
summertime, late summer.
yeah. Well, we actually have an election coming up tonight, uh, citywide, and some elections. We have our city council's race that's up in my district, District E. You have the incumbent Cindy Wynn, and she's running against about four or five other people, and mayor's race. So all of that stuff is going on, statewide stuff too. So I'm I'm not enthused.
You say you're not induced, huh?
I'm not. I mean, there are people like I'll put it to you this way, because you're in Virginia, right?
Yep.
Richmond. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what the population or anything of what's the population of black and white. Mostly white.
No, Richmond probably about it's probably about half and half to be honest with you. Probably
Half
about, as
and
a
half.
matter of fact, probably a little bit more black actually. Well, actually, it's getting no black folk moving out to the county now, so it's getting a little bit more white.
Okay. Well, as you know, New Orleans is predominantly black, but nobody here, as I was explaining the other day on Judge's show, controls the economics. And it seems I found it odd because I look at the people, uh, Bernard, the candidates and their supporters that were out holding the signs, telling people to go vote and all this stuff. And when I'm going across the street on Bullard and Lake Forest, you see nothing but blighted property. blighted old businesses. So it's funny when I see all of these signs that are up every year, every month, trying for the last 4 or 5, about 4 months, trying to get people out to vote. We have these elections going on, but we got nothing but blighted property, and it's been like that for over 16 years. Nothing has changed. So I'm just not, I'm not saying not to vote, but I'm really, if you told me I had to choose between Satan or the devil, I'll just pick neither. If I was in a concentration camp and you told me to eat ass soup or a vomit salad, I'd rather starve to death. Bottom
That's very
line.
interesting. And I'm glad that somebody said that he'd rather choose never because I
No,
call Satan the
they
maker
ought
of
to
the devil.
have that. They ought to have that on ballots, like none of the above, because it is a
Hmm.
vote. It's a vote of no confidence.
Hmm. That's right.
Don't
That's
you think?
interesting.
Don't you think that would be? You know how many? You really want to see people come out and vote? Put that on there. People would do it. Now
Wow.
look bro. You remember what happened on election night? This past Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the Tuesday before that, when it was election night and all of these Democrats were taking L's. Like up in Buffalo, that socialist that was running, that black female socialist, she lost to a right on candidate, a right in
Yeah.
candidate. I said right on. Yeah, right on like JJ and good time. Yeah, right on. No, right in candidate. I was laughing my ass off when I saw that. Like he didn't even qualify. They said, we're going to write this motherfucker. We don't want her. You know, people are
And he
people are
won,
getting
right?
frustrated. I'm sorry.
And he won, right?
He won. He won big.
You know something? In New Jersey, you had a lifelong, well, not lifelong, but you had a guy lose to a truck driver.
What were they running for?
State Senate.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was also a truck driver. And the truck driver hardly put no money up.
Oh man.
So I mean that's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's interesting. This it shows the direction that the country is in right now. People don't trust the Democratic Party. People are tired of the Biden administration, the mandates that have been handed down. By the way, I just learned this past week, and I know we got to be careful with our words, but federal court struck down one of the mandates. You know what court that took place in, huh?
New Orleans or Louisiana.
Right. I wasn't on the case though, Bernard. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Yeah,
that was
it
in
was the Fifth Circuit, right? Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I just reading a little while ago. Matter of fact, another judge came down too as well because they're saying that you overstepping your authority, but and to show you that what kind of country you're living in, which is almost communist, not quite yet, but getting close. What did Biden say? Don't worry about the court. Say you keep doing what you're doing.
Now imagine if Donald Trump had said that.
Well, he'd be looked at as a dictator.
Yeah. I mean, and yes, the other day I saw Biden call Satchel Paige a Negro.
I was just about to ask you that. What do you think?
It is what it is. This is the same man who called black children cockroaches, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
So that don't surprise me. I mean, remember a few months ago, I clearly heard what I thought he said the N-word. Remember?
Yeah.
And people were trying to defend him. I don't get how, well, I do get, but groups like Media, I think it was Media Tape, that said, no, he didn't say Negro when everybody heard it. It's like, ignore what he said, do as I say. You know, I'm more, that doesn't surprise me, and I'm not worked up about it as much as I am the policies that he has put in place for every other group except us. And we were the ones that he even commented that said we put him in office and he had our back, right?
Well, obviously
And
he didn't because he doing quid pro quo for everybody else.
And people are and a lot of people. That's the backlash that we saw in the election. People didn't go out and vote for the Democrats, especially out in that was in your home. That's in Virginia, right? The
Yep.
governor. Yeah, nobody was voting, and you know what? They tried to blame black people for it.
Yeah,
I
but
remember.
that's a smoke screen though, because actually I talked to a lot of black younger people on the street, and they actually told me they were voting for Youngkin anyway. So
They voted for the Republican anyway. Yeah, either they
yeah,
stay.
so I
It
mean
was either they stayed
that's a
home or
smoke
they
screen
voted
too.
Republican. Right. You
Yeah.
either stay home or you vote Republican.
Well, yeah, because I had a lot of
Yeah.
you know, people like I talked to people about 30, 40, right?
Yeah.
They were the people 30, close to 40, 25 were talking about voting for Youngkin, but the the older people like 60, 70 were talking about voting for McCullough.
Right.
So but I knew McCullough wasn't gonna win anyway. When I realized they were bringing Obama, everybody else, you name it, down here, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They got Stacey Abrams here, Keisha Lance Bottom, Kamala Harris, Pharrell, the singer, everybody campaigning for McConnell. I said, no, this guy dead duck, because they bringing too many people out to try to campaign to save this sinking ship. It all changed when McCullough said that parents don't deserve to write to determine curriculum in the schools. That's when it all changed. That
Yeah.
was his, and
Right.
Youngkin had a thank you rally today in that same county today where that happened. He had a rally tonight, matter of fact, and he said that
Yeah. Well,
he
when you
thanked
get
them. Yeah,
yeah, I was just going to say, well, when it came to that, yeah, I distinctly remember that, and even the exit polls were saying that was the main reason why people voted for Youngkin was that this guy McCullough is talking about, we dictate what your children can learn. Nah, these are my kids. They're gonna learn what I tell them to do. I'm leading my children in the direction that I want them to go, especially by the Most High, as Sean James would say, under the Most High. And I don't want you teaching them, certain things that I'm opposed to. And that he came off like a dictator, and so people just didn't vote for him. And I think it was backlash against these mandates that are being in place by the Biden administration. I think
and
people are
he was
frustrated.
for mandates too. Come think about it, he was for mandates too.
Yeah, he was. And people were frustrated with that. It's just a combination of things. You got to, and then on top of that, what's going on, Bernard, the fact that we're even considering the United States is in negotiation settlements with giving illegal immigrants monies because they were separated at the border. That was even that's a egregious slap in the face to Americans because how is it you're going to give families? And he said that's not true about the $450,000 statement. It was reported by every newspaper. His own press secretary even came out and confirmed it. But even so, whether if it's not 450,000, even if it's a quarter of a million, the bottom line is you're giving illegal people who don't have a right to be in this country, who have not gone through the legal process, monies. Now he said it's illegal and illegals, but which one is it? Because under the Trump administration, the a government has a right to sovereignty. Every country has a right to govern its borders how they see fit. That was the policy during the Trump administration. He had a zero tolerance policy for illegal immigrants. I agreed with that. Now, if you give them monies, what's going to happen? You're giving them right there generational wealth because they can set up a business. They can go wherever they want, set up a business, and make more money then and have an annual regular income. But meanwhile, people were stuck home for what, 11 months, 12 months, and they were fighting over whether to give us $400, $600, $1,500, whatever amount it was, which didn't go that far anyway. And it only applied to certain families. You had to make a certain amount.
You're right. That's interesting.
Right. Do you? I mean, I don't think it's fair.
Yeah. You say you don't think it's fair.
Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair. But it goes to show you where the way they going with it.
Right.
Yeah. Show you the way they're going with it. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Satchel Paige, the Great Negro.
But that was a slap in the face. Now I gotta ask you some things that's going on outside of the thing. I know that people have been talking about this a lot of stuff going on. I see you got two trials going on. You got Ahmaud Arbery and you got Kyle Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at one case with Ahmaud Arbery where I think that there's a chance that they might get off on that one. And I think the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, he'll get lesser charges or he'll get off on the other. I think they're trying to run a mass agenda here.
So you think? Well, let me just say this: it's not the Ahmaud Arbery trial; it's the
Well, the case, yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that because the media they tie Ahmaud Arbery's name to
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Ahmaud should not be on trial. He's the victim. So
yeah,
I don't think those three are going to get off because of the videotape. I do think Rittenhouse has a strong chance of getting off based off what I have seen this judge do. I mean, this judge practically has babied him throughout that whole. I'm surprised the judge could come off the bench and be his defense lawyer. The way he's been talking, prohibiting stuff from being said in the courtroom, prohibiting evidence. I mean, there's video of him even pointing guns at other people, pointing his weapon at other people, even talking about his intent to kill or shoot looters if he saw anybody breaking in, shoplifters and stuff like that. The judge is not allowing that. He didn't even allow the video of him punching that girl, which we know if it were a black person, a black male on trial, they likely would not get the same courtesy as you see Kyle Rittenhouse getting. Now he may have very well a strong self-defense argument just from what I read, because I did read where the guy who survived the shooting, this is the charge for the attempted murder that he's facing, that particular charge, the guy admitted on the witness stand that he pointed his gun at him first. So by that logic, if someone pointed a gun at me and I had my rifle and I pointed and shot at him, that would be self-defense. So I think he would beat that. I don't. And there's a chance he could beat the murder charges too. He still has what's called a lesser offense, but those are misdemeanors because he was underage carrying a rifle. And make no mistake about it, these people were out there, just like with Ahmaud Arbery, they were out there to hunt. He was with those groups. I mean, and he was clearly trained because you saw how he was handling the gun, giving signals to the police and so forth. Somebody was training him. Now, this is what I tell black people too, because, you know, I'm all about our Second Amendment rights. You see how at a young age he's prepared to do stuff like that? Why don't we do that? We got to teach our kids how to. I'm not talking about go wandering in the streets like this fool was, but I'm saying we got to teach our kids to be prepared for battle. We got to teach our children to be aware of of the law, especially on guns, self-defense. We got to teach our kids that. It's cool to take kids to the range. Now, of course, at a certain age they go, not younger than like 5 or 6 years old, but they got to learn this stuff, man. Some of our people, yeah, but tying that in with Ahmaud Arbery, you know, why are they mentioning? My main thing with it always had race in it. Race is always a factor in these things. with Ahmaud Arbery, though, those three individuals, and that's as far as I will say to them, the McMichaels and Bryants, and I'm using individual loosely. They went out there. That dude Brian, particularly, you saw how he even said that he didn't know he had to, if he was right for following this guy. He practically blocked him in, and they were trying to trap him. So when he goes around the truck to fight McMichael, they got a shotgun on him. He's got every right to defend himself. These are not cops. That's the most important thing to consider, Bernard. And the fact they want to bring up a burglary charge or burglary or robbery or theft, they didn't find anything on him. So why are you bringing this shit up? You're trying to raise a burglary charge. Well, did you find a weapon on him? Well, no. Did you find any of the stolen items? Anything missing from the house? Well, no. What about the boat? Well, there was stuff missing from the boat. Well, did you know if he took it? Well, no. Then what the fuck are you bringing it up for?
You're right about that.
What are we bringing this up for?
Well, I look at it as a bigger agenda, more so like this thing could have some Second Amendment thing because I guess they call Don Lemon and them are all over it. So it got something to do with guns. When they talk about guns, I know they got an agenda behind what they want.
I don't watch CNN.
That's good. I'm glad you don't.
My folks watch it. Whenever I see him come, Don Lemon or Cuomo come on, I walk out. So yeah, but it's good not to watch it. But he got in trouble as well, Don Lemon. So
I'm gonna tell you that. Come to think about it, they arrested a guy from Project Veritas a couple of days for having a diary of Joe Biden and something with his daughter or something like that. They raided his house. They didn't arrest him, but they raided his house. His name was James O'Keefe. And he had a diary, and the FBI raided him. So I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, I do think this got some Second Amendment.
What happened with that? They raided his house for what? They said he stole.
He had
something?
a diary of Ashley Biden, and she's saying that Joe Biden, her father, used to molest her or take showers with her or something like that. He had a diary or something with all this stuff in there, and they raided his house. But that's another story. I have to go back to that. I seen an interview with all that. He came on Fox News, was handing them and talked about it. I'm just saying that a lot of stuff is going on also on that end. But you were talking about Rittenhouse and this thing right here, and you were talking about Don Lemon. So I was just tying Don Lemon and Joe Biden. They're all in that little freaky deaky stuff together. Come and think about it with Don Lemon, he got a charge for supposedly sexually assaulting some man in a bar or something. That's what you're talking about, Don.
Did he get charged or he got sued or there's a complaint?
So if he sued or something, but something happened.
Okay.
At this bar.
I believe
which ain't surprising because we know how Don Lemon is anyway. And that daggone it was a man.
Yeah.
But that's but I just say look at the Second Amendment stuff. But you are right that we should learn some Second Amendment lessons on how to carry and stuff like that. If you look at how tactical he was, and then you look at us, you're saying we're not that tactical. So I can agree with that. Now I did see one thing in the other trial though, when the guy said he don't want no black preachers in the courtroom. But I didn't think about it. He was talking about Al Sharpton though.
Well, I was offended by that because, how dare you think all black people listen to Al Sharpton?
That's you're right about that. Now that's a true statement.
But the bottom line is that lawyer. I'm glad this is all coming out because they're not hiding what they feel, and the lawyer essentially is raising that issue now. Now they're talking about more black pastors being in that county, being in that courtroom as a result of it. I heard Jesse Jackson is in talks possibly to come down there. I spoke with Bishop. If Bishop is listening, I said, Bishop, you should go down there. Because technically he would be invited. You're not a black pastor, Bishop. You're a bishop. so it wouldn't apply. But yeah, but I'm glad all this stuff is coming out, Bernard, because they're not hiding how they feel. That area, we look at that case with Arbery, remember the police practically cleared them of any wrongdoing. They didn't arrest them, they didn't really interrogate them immediately. The guy was allowed to go take a shower. The guy was allowed to
Mm.
take a shower with this man's blood on his body and possibly and destroy evidence. Because
Wow.
yeah. So
Hey,
you think about that. Look at those. The DA got in trouble, Jackie Johnson, because she didn't want to prosecute it, and it looks like she was defending them. She was protecting them.
you right. Well, I just look at it when it comes to that situation with Al Sharpton in the courtroom. Now, I will say this: Al Sharpton in the courtroom, but Ben Crump is on the Travis Scott case. So, what are your thoughts about the Travis Scott thing going on?
Well, I want to just say something because I remember you said this yesterday that it was just non-FBA people that were killed, but they do have that 9-year-old
Yeah.
that's on life support. So,
Yeah.
look, my thoughts and prayers are for everybody that got injured and got killed. Their families. Uh, it's a tragic thing. This has happened before, though, Bernard, and it
Yeah.
happened
It's
even
not the
back.
first time. This could
Right.
happen at a football game.
Well, it happened even in the 1970s with the Who. They had a concert in Cincinnati, at the Riverside Coliseum, and 11 people were killed. Trying to get inside. So that type of stuff happens. What's up, Doc Boss? Yeah. So it's not something that's new, and it's happened at other concerts. It's called the Crush. They do it, as you said, at football stadiums, football games. It's happened. I don't understand. You want to say it's because of social media now that everybody has a camera and we saw what happened, but there's enough blame to go around on everybody, and that even includes some of the people in the crowd. I mean, I saw the video. I don't know if anybody else saw it, of people rushing past the metal detectors, people climbing over the fence. They had 5,000 extra people, as being reported, that didn't have tickets, so they just came in there illegally and went there. Now, the question is, was there enough security? That obviously would fall on the event organizers. Uh, Certainly the place where it was held. I heard that they're going to be likely sued. NKG, Live Nation. They're mentioning Drake and Travis Scott in these lawsuits as well because they were the performers. But Travis Scott is the one who puts this event on, and you know, I couldn't tell you what Travis Scott's biggest hit is because I don't listen to him. Uh,
That's what I've
I,
been saying.
I
I
don't
don't
listen
listen
to
to, I've
mumble
been
rap.
listening to Travis Scott.
Well, if you looked at the makeup of the crowd, who was predominantly there that like him,
That's right.
right? But I certainly would not bring a 9-year-old. Now that's another thing too. Would I bring a 9-year-old? Do you think it's appropriate to bring a child to that event? I don't think it is. Maybe a teenager, perhaps, yeah, but not a 9-year-old, and especially when you see a crowd like that. And we're in the middle of a pandemic still. You still have COVID. So you notice you had all of those people packed in there like sardines in the middle of the pandemic. I know it's a red state, Texas. But what was even worse, I saw pictures, videos too, Bernard, of the police that were there, and they were photographing the area. So it's like, are they going to get in trouble as well? Will Houston Police Department get sued? What about the fire chief? The fire chief has the ability to stop everything. If a crowd is filled to capacity at an event, they're in charge of regulations. He had been trying to push stuff on Auburn, but then he backed off because he started getting called out. So,
Right.
right. I think Travis Scott, to sum it all up, he's the new Negro of the month. They got to find somebody to go after. In his career, I don't know how he's going to survive this.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
if she decides to stay with him because he's not making no money no more. She's got, remember that girl is supposedly a billionaire.
Mm.
He's banged both sisters, Kylie and Kendall. He dated one before he dated the other.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah. He was dating I believe Kylie. Or is
Now
it
let me
Ky-
say something about this guy. This
yeah.
guy named Greg Mafoy. That's the guy that's the chairman of Live Nation, but he also has stuff with Sirius XM, the Atlanta Braves, and stuff. This guy owns a lot of land too. So Live Nation is actually owned by two Jewish guys, and they got tons of money. They actually had signed Jay-Z and them to artist deals back then. So I just want to let you know this is more than just some Travis Scott. Live Nation got something to do with it, but you know you're never gonna get to the top of the matter when you're dealing with that much money. Because Live Nation's a big thing. They also got stuff with Ticketmaster and a whole lot of stuff. So
Well, yeah. Well, the guy who founded it was Robert Silverman, and it started out as SFX Entertainment. So it's yeah, their insurance policies. I believe they've already look. I've already seen the ads now. Somebody showed an ad on Facebook where they're already saying if you're injured at the Travis Scott concert, they have the picture up with Travis Scott and the mount his from outside the Astro World event. I mean, it's definitely going. They're putting it all on him now. He's been arrested for stuff like this before, like inciting a riot and stuff like that. But when you look at it, and you got to be realistic with this, Bernard. How is it when you have 8 people that are dead? There's no way, or 8 people that are injured, anybody getting injured in a crowd. How could he see that out of a crowd of 50,000 plus at night? People coming up to the cameraman, getting him to stop the event. Something was going on. Think of it. Think of it this way: people do stuff for attention. Now, it's tragic that those people have died, but there's no way of knowing the cameraman's not going to stop that. Who has the power to stop that? It would be the police. If a police officer came up to the cameraman and was telling them, get Mr. Scott's attention to stop the show, or even just coming on the stage. Look, I've seen police officers, remember back in the day when NWA and Ice-T and those guys would perform, they would actually get up on those on the stage and arrest those performers. Remember what happened in NWA the movie, the Straight Outta Compton movie, when they said if you do fuck the police, we're gonna arrest you on the scene. And Ice Cube did it, and they came up on the stage and arrested him. So the police could have stopped this event. I see Lockhart says that a man was paralyzed at one of his concerts. The man jumped from a 40-foot platform. If somebody encouraged you to jump off the bridge, would you do it, or would you say, "Well, I'm gonna have a mind of my own. I don't think I need to follow this"? I mean, you're right. It's not the first time stuff like that has happened, and he encouraged people to beat the guy up who stole his shoe. But what do you bear? There's something in the law called comparative fault. People bear there's different responsibilities for some things. Where I might find you at fault for 20% or 30%, but if you did something that was also negligent, I'll give you 15% of fault. You've seen this before. If you watch the Judge show, like Judge Personal Injury Court with Judge Gino, where he often talks about, I find you 50% at fault, and I find you 50% at fault. So if you sue for $200,000 in damages, I'm just going to award you $100,000. That happens. So what may end up happening, obviously the lawsuits have been filed. I mean, that Saturday they had a lawsuit that was filed.
Okay. Now I gotta get to some. I usually don't put too much sport in here, but I'm gonna do it today because we got a little situation over the next couple months. Had a thing. Aaron Rodgers, who's coming back to play tomorrow against the Seattle
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks, and Kyrie Irving and other athletes. Um, Hold on, yeah, King Big jump on the stand in front of the cameras. Hey, he just showed his racism on the main stage, man. The judge showed it. I mean, hey, what you expect?
Yeah,
I,
they're getting on him for making a comment about Asian food or something like that. He
yeah.
made a comment. Yeah, I
Stop
mean,
Asian hate, as they say, right?
under
Hey, they
that
ain't
law,
had it this time, man. What you want me to do? Hey,
I
look,
guess he's charged under that new law. I don't
I
know.
like my races open. I don't like them to be in the closet. So hey,
Yeah.
that's right.
I,
Come on out,
my
show
thing
it.
is, well, Bernard, let me just say this. Let me, if I could just make this point too. It's good that this stuff is coming out in the open, but realistically, these judges, I don't know how old that judge is. He's got to be in his 60s. It's hard to remove a judge from the bench. I mean, we had in Baton Rouge a judge, Michael Irwin. I'll name his name. He's retired now, but he got banned from a restaurant because he got in an argument with a black woman and called her a nigger, allegedly. The judge, I just say that because I wasn't there, but the restaurant confirmed this is what happened and said he's banned from all locations. He can't come back. And people complained about it, but guess what? He still was on the bench when I was practicing. Nothing happened to them. So and especially he was already getting ready to retire. So what was it going to do getting him off the bench? What are they going to do? If this guy is 66 years old, they're not going to get him off the bench if he's near retirement age. At that point,
Well, let me say this to you in
go
another
ahead.
context. I just look at it like, just get what you expect. But I do understand what you're saying, brother. Now about this Aaron Rodgers thing, and I think
Shoot.
that the media has been very, very hypocritical with it. Um, on one end, because I watched his interview with McAfee twice, and yeah, he was talking about COVID-19. Aaron Rodgers was. He also talked about the treatments he took and so, but it's stuff that I've been saying the whole time. So this is nothing new that he's talking about. Everybody's been talking about they've been taking their hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and so forth and the like. So what he
Yeah.
said was not new. It's just that the NFL didn't have one. Well, the NFL really didn't care. The pharmaceutical companies who control the NFL didn't want that to happen. It was a real BT.
Oh,
What's up, baby?
Don.
But if you understand what Aaron Rodgers did, is it's not what he did, it's what he said. And it upset the apple cart. Then you get your mammies like Jamel Hill come out. Then you get Stephen A. Smith who said, "Oh, it's just a mere bag of chips. He got the Rona. He got the Rona." And they had to tell him on set, "You can't say that. We're trying to drive the engine up." So at first, he gave him a pass, and then he tried to walk it back. But if you
Stephen Head
understand,
Smith.
Stephen Asshole Smith, as I call him,
No,
right?
I call him Stephen Head Smith. That nasty ass. Quite
Oh
frankly,
man!
ridiculous.
But look,
So disrespectful. The bozo hairline, the
yeah, he
African
got
American RoboCop.
yeah. Well, he tried to be slick, but we caught him this time, and he at first because he said all this stuff about Kyrie Irving. Then he said, "Oh, at least Kyrie was honest." Y'all didn't care if Kyrie was honest. Stop trying to act like you on my side now. You won't with me then, so don't try to
Even
switch it up. Then Jamel Hill said, "Well, Aaron Rodgers, damn it." Then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said, "People won't get an athlete to do the commercial no more. They more with a they'll get a pop star actor to be in the commercials, something like."
right.
He said they won't look up to be a role
Let me,
models. What are y'all talking about? The man told you that he wasn't gonna take it. He told you why. He told you the treatments and all that, right?
yeah.
What are we even talking about? And why do we got all these sports pundits
Well,
that
let
just
me.
talking? We got Gail King in the morning, Whoopi Goldberg, you even got Anthony Fauci. Everybody, look here. What Aaron Rodgers said is what a lot of other people been saying. Why are they broadcasting this thing? Because they got an agenda.
Well, let me say this on the ESPN thing with Stephen Head Smith and Yoda.
Jamel
Jamel
Hill.
Jamel Hill is Yoda, I call her. Let me say this. Stephen A. Smith for years, I've noticed, and I lost interest in him. I thought at one point, Bernard, Stephen A. was that dude. At one point. Remember when he had a show called Quite Frankly, which was on
Yeah.
ESPN, and he was bringing on heavy hitters like Boyce Watkins. He had Steve Harvey. I don't call Steve Harvey a heavy hitter, but Steve Harvey. I remember the AI interview he did, that which was big. And they would talk about some real issues, and then they canceled his show. Well, he comes back on ESPN a few years later, does the first take, and when that Ray Rice incident happened, he was talking about how women needed to be mindful about avoiding situations that they were in. And he used his platform to make that point, and he got in trouble for it because his coworker, Michelle Beadle, complained, being that I'm a domestic violence survivor, and called him out on social media, which violated company policy. And what did he do the next day? He apologized and got suspended for 2 weeks. But then when Mark Cuban said something that was racial about, I don't trust black people in a hoodie, and just like I don't trust a white man who has a bald head, has got tattoos. He doubled down, defended Mark Cuban, got criticized for it, and told the black community, I don't give a damn who in the black community is upset with me. And he has made a living, especially on ESPN, talking down on black men. That's why Kwame Brown called him out. That's why Corey Holcomb calls him out. That's his MO. You know, and my understanding he's from the island. That's not a, like Tariq Nasheed said, that headline is not a non-foundational black American headline. It's not an FBA headline. Stephen A has an issue with black men. And I think it's just like what Willie D said. You got a chip on your shoulder because your ball game sucks, and you want to work with players that your wife that your wife, he said, that your wife want. I won't say the rest, but listen to the song "Cool." But that says it all. But to get to the point, yeah, he acted. I'm so glad that Jay Williams called him out on his BS. I'm so glad that Jay Williams did that because he was awfully quiet at how his tone was towards Aaron Rodgers versus how he approached Kyrie Irving. Now, my position on it, if it's something you want to take, that's fine. That's your business. Nobody has to know that. I understand there's a health issue in this country going on, but the fact that you are trying to force that and demonize people who don't agree with it, who are against it, that's the problem with that. And you attack Kyrie, you attack you don't attack Aaron Rodgers like this. And it was clear that, this guy has some type of issue against black men. He always does. I don't know if you remember this, Bernard, but he pulled up some statistics about domestic violence and tried to say that most domestic violence, all of these were black men that had these domestic violence charges out in for Florida State or whatever. I think one of the students got in trouble with their girlfriend, on a domestic violence charge. The problem with that was that you're missing something. Majority of the students that play college football are black. That's why it's that. It's not because we're black, we're committing crime. Majority of the black students, if there were no black, obviously you would have no NCAA football without black people because it would be less entertaining. That's to be real. So he brings those statistics up, shitting on black men. Let's not forget Jamel Hill. She brought some stuff up. I believe she attacked Deshaun Jackson once for some remarks he made last year. She also, correct me if I'm wrong, did she say something about Louis Farrakhan? I could be
She
wrong
attacked
about it.
Deshaun Jackson for saying something about Louis Farrakhan. Yes, she did.
But she's always said some slick shit about black men. I remember she liked a Root article that said black men were the white supremacists of the black community.
Yes, she
Excuse
did.
me? What? What?
And you know what? The crazy part, she got married to a black guy too. That's the funny part.
And he's a simp.
You know what? He damn sure is a simp.
Because
I
ain't
agree
no
with you.
any woman that would disrespect black men. Well, if she could disrespect black men like that, she don't respect her husband.
Mm. Well, yeah, thank you, brother, for saying that.
Right.
Stephen
But I,
K is from, I think he's from North Carolina, but he's from the Caribbean.
he's from North
He
Carolina. He's from North Carolina. His hairline is from Barbados.
yeah. 17, thank you to 7. Look at that. Yeah. Well, let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
This lady, you got a wonderful lady in the chat named Lockhart.
I see her.
Yeah, she probably love to interview you one day on your show.
Uh,
You know, yeah,
no, let's set it up. Yeah, send them
yeah.
my contact info and vice versa. Most definitely.
Let me see something right quick. For a minute there. Yeah, but I was very disappointed. But then I also looked at what's this guy's name? What's his name? Uh, is it Kaepernick? Yeah, Kaepernick said the NFL draft compared to slavery or something to
Mm-hmm.
promote his Netflix movie.
Oh, he did say that.
Huh?
He said the NFL draft is like slavery.
That's what he said to promote his Netflix movie.
Well, he got to deal with Netflix. Yeah, but
That's what I'm trying to. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
a lot of people feel like Kyrie Irving is what we wanted Colin Kaepernick to be. Like lose it all because Colin got all them deals now. I mean, look, those two are millionaires, Colin and Kyrie. So Kyrie doesn't need basketball per se, and his girlfriend is a multi-millionaire as well. But yeah,
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me tell you something. Stephen A. said he is making money for his white zaddy.
yeah, he said that.
Yeah, he's making money.
Yeah. He said that. Yeah,
Hey, there you
he's
go. Barbados is the gay
paid.
capital of the Caribbean. Do your research.
I didn't know that. I just was saying. That was the first punchline I could think of was Barbados. So, but Steve, yeah, but yeah, man, I don't watch. That's one of the reasons why I stopped watching ESPN too. Bernard was just when they did that. Max Kellerman actually, I remember when To said Max Kellerman was blacker than Stephen A. Smith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what? Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless on the same train the other day too, man. They were on the same bull crap. Oh, preach, brother, preach, preach,
No,
preach,
Skip.
preach. I'm like,
No,
oh my god.
no, Skip. Come on, Skip. No, Skip. This is my new impression. I do Shannon Sharp. No, Skip, no. I want my restitution, Skip, because I was telling you something. The Green Bay Packers, they don't need Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, you straight up a lie. But Kyrie Irving, he was that dude. Kyrie never told a lie, Skip. He tell a lie, Skip. No, Skip. No, Skip.
Yeah, but that's just interesting. You know, it's interesting. Now I do know that before I know that you got some other things going on, your spices and all that's going on, right?
We have that still going along. Actually, I'm trying to get it in stores very soon here in the local area. Uh, I'm making my way with that, but we have our spice company, NawniesCreoleBlends.com. That's the actual, I'll show you the webpage to share with everybody. I'm gonna share it right now so everybody can check it out. You can order you some seasoning now. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. This goes great with every dish. So that's the tagline. I came up with that jingle, Bernard. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if you can. You can't get crawfish this way. You gonna have to come down to New Orleans, man, and we'll cook some crawfish and stuff, or go eat some crawfish. And you're allergic to seafood?
On seafood, I eat this fish, brother.
Okay, well, we got plenty of fish down here.
That's good.
But yeah, but this
I'll
is
take
my
some white. I'll take some whiting real quick, man.
yeah.
But that's the sight spices, huh?
Yeah, I appreciate you always shouting it out too, Bernard. Really do.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, but speak about that though. Speak about that while you're on that, because but that goes to show that you're innovative. You also been doing comedy or something. Seen you on a couple of comedy shows, so that speaks volumes that you always
working.
Hey, Donna Yashua, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't consider myself. I'm not one dimensional where I gotta stay in this lane. I believe, especially in later years, that the key is to try and find multiple things, and especially multiple streams of income now, Bernard, because you remember what happened with the recession, how it affected the job market back in 08 and 09. People were getting laid off. Lawyers were getting laid off. We look even at this situation with COVID-19. We're talking 10, 11 years later after the recession. We were home for 11 months, 12 months. We couldn't go anywhere. I was able, thank God, to work from home with some stuff. And that's where I just decided.
Hold on, man. Hold on 1 second.
Okay, sure.
Hold on 1 second.
Hello.
Yeah. How you doing, Miss? Oh shit! I thought I had out. Wait a minute. Where's she at? Did you drop?
You removed.
Hey, how you doing? I don't know why. Let me get her back.
Okay.
Hey, how you
doing? Thank you. We're here. I'm well. How are you? And hello, Gavin. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm not dropping her out.
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Oh, she dropped again?
I don't know why she keeps dropping out. How you doing? How you doing tonight? Oh yeah. Oh, why you keep dropping?
Well, I'm here. Once I'm here, you just have to not touch the button anymore, BJ.
I'm not just touching the daggone thing. How you doing?
I'm exceptionally well. Thank you for inviting me on the platform this evening.
Yeah, I just wanted to, that's Gavin, and I told you, he can then come on your show, and y'all can talk about some law and things that he's a very interesting guy.
Most assuredly. I think some of the things that we're dealing with right now as it relates to our just our standard rights, our human rights, our constitutional rights, all of those things are being assaulted right now. So I'd love to have you on the show.
Okay, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. Now I want to ask Felicia a question, even though she probably like, this is what we expect from Biden. But he said that Negro or something from back in 1920s, I guess. I was like, if you can't see what's going on now, I feel kind of sorry for you, right?
Yeah, well, you know what? There is definitely some cognitive decline with him. And I think that's one of the major things that, even though we crack jokes on him and we may say things about him, there's some health issues that I think they'll be instituting the 25th Amendment very soon. I can't see him making it to even run again. But I do think that there are a lot of things that they're allowing to be seen right now, specifically because they know they're going to want that instituted. I think that when they allowed him to come in, there was already this preconceived notion of what they had in plan for the American people. And so I feel bad for him as a person. But I just really think that they already knew that by allowing these things to be seen, it would usher in the conversation. You know what I mean? I really do. I think it's going to usher in the conversation for him to be removed by using the 25th Amendment. And I think that the next person that's coming, and I don't believe that it'll be Kamala, it may be, but I think that the next person that's coming will honestly frighten all of us. Let me just
After
say that.
right. Well, after Trump, who could you have next? That'll frighten you. But
As it relates to Trump, I think that he fooled a lot of people. I don't even vote anymore because of Trump. So just let me just put that out there
well,
in all transparency.
well, let me say this about Trump. Trump, honestly, in terms of his policies that he enlisted, I'm looking at policies. He did not harm the African American community. It wasn't that
Oh
bad.
no, not at all, not at all.
Policies were not that bad. And we have now, it's actually impacted us more with President Biden because his administration is making other groups a top priority. I mean, when you make illegal immigrants a top priority of your administration, people who don't have a right to be in this country, they're here illegally, they broke the law, versus uh, what's happening, you know, with the black community now, lack of economics, lack of development in their communities, no black leadership is dead. And this is a top priority. LGBTQ is your top priority. He said that was his number one priority when he got in office. And you see a lot of pushback now, as I was telling Bernard earlier, from that. That's why you said you don't vote after Trump. People didn't vote, after Biden, or they voted Republican. So uh, I do believe, though, eventually President Biden will step down. I do think they want Kamala Harris. Not that they like her. I think it will happen just because they want a female. Judge Joe Brown has said this. They want a woman to be president. And in actuality, what would happen is that by order of succession, Kamala Harris becomes president, and I believe Nancy Pelosi, by way of the 26th Amendment, would be vice president or something along those lines. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. So that's what they want. And really, in truthfulness, it's the Democratic Party that's running the White House. It's not Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
It's not Joe Biden. Uh, with all, the president looks like he's lost everywhere. I said this before on my podcast. If you ever saw the comedy film Hot Shots Part 2, Part
Yes.
2, yeah, that's Lloyd Bridges played Admiral Tug Benson in the first Hot Shots, but he became president in the second movie. That's exactly what you have with Joe Biden. Like
You're in New
you ask,
Orleans, right?
yeah,
You're in New Orleans. So
yeah.
do y'all have like a backlog of ships down there or something like that too in New Orleans, or the ships moving kind of close?
A backlog, you mean, of cargo ships?
Yeah.
Port Authority might have stuff like that.
Okay. Because I know in
Why,
certain
yeah.
parts they have, backlog. It was just a curious question that asked there. Wasn't really sure. But
BJ,
Jesus,
to answer that honestly, I think you'd have to literally be there and see it for yourself because there are conflicting stories surrounding the cargo ships. I have people that are in Long Beach, California, San Diego, as well as other states where there are ports, and the stories are conflicting at best. I think what we're seeing as it relates to our import, as it relates to our stock supply, if you will, these things are, if we just talk about what they allow us to talk about, then of course we'll continue to repeat the rhetoric. But if we do our own due diligence, we'll see that all of this is a concerted effort to apply pressure to those who are not going along with the mainstream idea. If you get hungry enough, maybe you'll acquiesce. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
mm-hmm. It makes sense. Perfect sense. I completely understand. I mean, we get it 100%. And yeah, I get what you're saying. Well,
It's
you
not
know,
always what it seems. You have to do a little dig a little deeper.
that's why that's why I always like talking to you, because you always dig beneath the surface and
Just
around.
three areas. I know people who work at all of the ports for the majority of the parts. The people that I've mentioned are the areas that I've mentioned, and what they are seeing and what we are hearing are different scenarios altogether, and that gives me pause. That gives me pause.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, once again, I know you got the Lockhart perspective headlines of divorce and uh Brighton, and you on Patreon. You got a lot of things. You got a lot. This woman got a lot of stuff, Gavin. She's amazing. I give it to her. She's amazing.
She sounds amazing, and a professional. I can hear the microphone right there. You got a pod. You do podcast too, huh? I can tell she's ready to do radio. Yeah, you have I have my not only my live stream. I do have my podcast on Anchor. I got to get back to, but I'm actually going to start another podcast eventually, Bernard, and I'll have details about that a little bit later. But I want to get everything legalized first, but it's going to be a good one.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, let me speak on one thing that you said there about the seasoning, spice, and the book. Well, it's good that I just want you to just in a nutshell, since you got a lot of stuff going on and everybody else trying to do stuff, trying to figure things out. But that shows that you're trying to develop a certain financial independence of business, and that's very good in this day and age. You're trying to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, most definitely. You have to look. You got to have multiple streams of income today. I've learned that from watching, what happened, even with my parents, my family, my father. I mean, they my dad had his own business. He was his pharmacist for over 30 plus years. And he actually, to the point, was very successful running his own pharmacy at one time. But he also had to work sometimes at Eckerd's or Walgreens or local pharmacy stores while his business was still on the ground. I still work a regular 9 to 5 too, just like I know you do, Bernard. And I don't know about Miss Lockhart, but I'm sure she works.
Nope, I just do this.
You just do this? Oh, I got to get like you then. You ahead of the game.
I feel like if you starve enough, you'll do what you need to do to kick it into overdrive. You know what I mean?
Hopefully YouTube doesn't censor you like they did me. What was funny was that I actually had my channel monetized. I had over enough subscribers to get it monetized. Then the day after they sent me the announcement, I got another email saying, we feel that your page doesn't meet our partnership program. I still have those emails. So YouTube be on some, there are ScrewTube, as I call them. They be on that BS with a lot of stuff. But the people support me too. That's why I put the Cash App and the PayPal there, because I want the channel to grow. And eventually, if I want to do another podcast where I'm off YouTube or anything like that, or we could form our own streaming company like what Tariq Nasheed is trying to do. He wants to form a streaming company, and this brother's putting together a museum. Those are things that we need. We go independent of stuff, because at any moment, remember, even though you may have stability with the job, at any moment, if there's an issue with the company or the business or the government, they can lay you off. They can fire you. Nothing is secure unless you have a contract. Every state has something called work for hire. An employee can terminate your contract, and you can terminate. They can terminate your employment, and you can terminate it. So at any moment, those things happen. So that's why another reason why you want another stream of income to support yourself. So I'm just innovative. I think that, I thank God for that I can do that and think of that. But, with COVID-19, I think it caused a lot of people to be more creative and come up with things. And, that's why I dedicated more and more time to it. So.
Agreed. I totally agree with you. You can't just rest your laurels on one thing.
Right. Because I have the book, eventually I might be I want to do screenplays.
No, that sounds good. We don't have enough people that look like us that would even think of that as a challenge, because they look at it as already being a sewn up environment. But it really isn't. When you think of the people that are in your reach right now, if you had a screenplay, and I will use there's a couple of gentlemen in Alabama, and they're brothers. They literally have started out their career with just doing movies and videos within their community, and now they are pretty well known. I feel like you can, if they make $1 million off of a movie that only cost them 3,000 to make. To me, they're successful.
Oh, it is successful. I mean, look, some of your independent films, even back in the 70s, you look at Dolomite, what Rudy Ray Moore was able to do. If you saw the movie where he, in his 50s, because he was 50 years old at the time he did Dolomite, coming out of the army and he was doing his records, he wanted to produce a film, he wanted to write and star in it. When Hollywood told him, "You're not acceptable, you're not the guy that we want," he found a way to do it. It's possible to do it in spite of the obstacles we go on. Now, it would be helpful though if we did have, and I think this is another problem too, some of our own people won't be who are wealthy won't be able to risk or put back in the community making another movie or putting their money up on another filmmaker. I've noticed that. I mean, I wish, for instance, brother Ice Cube, and I love Ice Cube, but Ice Cube, I saw he was complaining about New Line because they held up the last Friday movie project that he wanted to bring everybody back. And sadly, a lot of the cast members have passed on, like John Witherspoon, Tiny Lister, who played Debo. I knew him as Zeus. Ronaldo Ray, who was in it as well. A couple of those people are no longer here. So he complained about New Line holding up because they didn't want to make these type of movies. But what's funny is that those movies actually built those companies, just like Warner Brothers and UPN. They had an all-black lineup on their networks, but then after a while, when they started to develop and they got new ownership, they canceled all of those shows in one swoop. So the bottom line is that if we want to see stuff like us perform like we see here today, we got to be able to put up money and help those others that want to build something. And it doesn't, from what I'm looking at, even back in the 70s, if you look at the film, it's not black, but you remember of course, the film Halloween that John Carpenter did. It was only made on a budget of $300,000, and it made and grossed 70 million worldwide. It's actually one of the highest grossing independent films of all time. So that says something. If we don't want to see the Disney do the stepdad movies, that little short movie that they did, let's, like O'Shea Duke Jackson said, control your own images by owning your own networks, your own companies. That's the only way you're going to see that happen.
Let me say something right quick that I forgot to mention the other day. I forgot to I meant to tell Felicia this, but the other day there was a thing it happened at the they charged one of the Capitol rioters with 41 months, but then when you go down and read the thing, you find out that the guy was the brother of a former Secret Service agent of Michelle Obama. So that goes to show you this was really like an FBI, CIA intelligence probe that went on at the Capitol that day, which we already knew anyway. But that's it. They keep on talking about this word Trump supporter or whatever. But you got black, white, Asian, Chinese, Asian, Chinese, all types of ethnicities out there. So they keep on making it seem like this one demographic. There's a lot of people out there. This was like a constitutional thing that they were doing, and it got hijacked by people, and now they're trying to have a so-called committee on it. So as I said, when they say all these names and they call you Trump supporter, what they call you anti-vax, all conspiracy theories, all these names, that's all CIA crap, propaganda that they try to use on you to divide and conquer. That's what I wanted to say about that.
Yeah. So
that's what I want to say. When they throw these labels at you, we got to get adept at throwing it black. Like, you do comedy and Dave Chappelle does comedy. Like he says, what do you mean? I ain't anti-trans. That's what you want to call me? I ain't never say that. You call me that name. I didn't call you that.
You can't cancel somebody that walked away from $70 million.
That's right. You can't cancel.
Yeah, right.
You can't cancel. So it's time to fight back with the cancel culture. Or as Aaron Rodgers called them, the woke mob, before they put the final nail in my council culture coffee.
I don't think there's enough people calling them out on the lies that they say. And I think, on these types of levels, yes, you'll hear about it. But you don't hear enough people who are in the position to make a difference saying anything. So, for example, the whole entire thing on that particular day, and out of respect for your channel, I'm not going to use certain phrases, okay? But on the day in question that you're referring to, at the top of the year, there are several people that know exactly what that was. That was that was a scare tactic to put everybody else who would ever think about it or who would ever dare to stand up against anybody in leadership, to get them in check, to prevent them from moving forward to do anything. So you're not going to exercise any of your rights to gather together and do anything like that because of the public display that was shown. However, how do you have videos that are now even circulating with people just meandering on in, being ushered in by police without anybody in quote unquote a position of authority ever questioning those things? How can we watch an entire video with alleged staging of people in positions standing there waiting for somebody to say something like, I don't know, action, and nobody say anything? We're all watching a movie, but the only people who are supposed to believe the delusional idea that it's a movie, that it's a real life, is us. The actors know. The people who paid for them know. The people who watch the people pay for them know. The people who in police suits ushering them in, they know. We've got people walking into back doors, hopping in through windows, checking their cameras, checking their mic levels, and all of this stuff, and nobody's supposed to say, hey, we see you. So you got a problem, BJ, if you say, hey, wait a minute, I saw videos with police escorting people into the back of the, of this office or that capitol or this or that.
Yeah.
So you've got a problem because you have eyes and you see it. You're supposed to go along with the man-made narrative. Nobody's supposed to mention that there were ads for people getting paid for these jobs to go in and do this. Nobody's supposed to mention that we've seen the same exact adjutants on both sides of the coin. Wait a minute, you mean the BLM people and the exact same people who were at this event but that were dressed up as quote-unquote Trump supporters, same cats. So we're not supposed to mention that. So now we're a part of their conspiracy.
You broke that down. That's a very, very good thing. And by the way, you realize they don't call it an insurrection no more. They call it a riot. Let's call it what it is, because it ain't no insurrection. Because insurrection means overthrowing a government.
Well, that's the only way that they can get you to be afraid to exercise your right to, freedom of speech and your freedom to assemble together. That's the only way that they can attack that, right? Yeah.
Well, don't forget that they even themselves, they slip and let the truth out, because I saw the video. I still remember, I have that broadcast of the Capitol police officer. I don't know his name, but he opened that gate when they were walking up the steps.
Yes, sir.
I saw that. Now, they announced that, and even I believe it was a representative that said he thought it was an inside job. I can't think. It was a black. It was who I don't. I think it was Clyburn that said that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was an inside job. So he slipped and let the truth come out on what it was, or at least was going that way. And I've never seen them even talk to the police officers. I haven't seen them brought up at these hearings.
Exactly.
They need to be.
Exactly. So when we begin to repeat what they're saying in court, what they're saying in these investigations that they do publicly, when we begin to repeat what they say, even though we know the truth, we're playing right along with them, whether we know it or not. When we start to say what they say, even though we've seen opposite of it, that makes us co-conspirators. We're right along with them.
You know what? It was a cop that was testifying on the stand, and he said that he stopped some insurrectionists, and they booed him because he told them he voted for Joe Biden. I said, wait a minute, man. In a heated of battle, you ain't got no time to do a whole lot of talking like that. So what you talking about, dude? that was a hearing they had with those Capitol Police officers or whatever. But I just looked at it as just a lot cleverly crafted acting. But you are so right, Felicia, about what you're saying. Well, look, I just want to say, but yeah, you got to get definitely. You got to get man, yeah, and Pelosi knew it was gonna happen too. But you got to definitely get Mr. Gavin Rashad on your show, and this will be very interesting. I love to hear that talk. She had a wonderful show with Dr. Common Johnson as well, Gavin. So I'm sure she you can say everything you want to say. So both of y'all just do me a favor and shout out y'all channels, information and stuff. I just it'd be good.
Channel Gboot 2786. I go live every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So please tune in tomorrow. I think it'll be sometime in the afternoon when I do a show, or it's usually late afternoon, early evening when I go live. But everyone can follow me there. I would love to do Miss Lockwood's show to talk to her. So I appreciate it.
And Cash App Gavin Rashad ESQ.
Thank you.
That's excellent. And I would love to have you. I think that'd be awesome. So I'm available here, obviously, on YouTube, and that is the Lockhart Perspective on YouTube. Also, the Lockhart Perspective on Spotify and Anchor Podcast. I'm available also on Vimeo and BitChute. And you will also find the repeats of everything on YouTube over on Odyssey and LBRY. That's pretty much it. Oh, okay. If we're throwing out Cash Apps. I don't mind throwing those out, King BJ. So I'm going to throw it out. It's just $ Lockhart Perspective. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, I would love to sit down with you and chat with you. We did have a great interview this past week at the top of the week with Dr. Cynthia McKinney, and that's available on Vimeo right now as well as Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
most definitely. Former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she was a fighter. I actually voted for her in 2008 rather than Obama, when she ran for president. But, of course, at that time, you couldn't say anything negative against Barack Obama. My goodness. But, yeah, she's a fighter. She was a fighter.
Most assuredly. And the video that she just did that's available over on Vimeo or Patreon, you will find that this right now, where she is, where all of us are, is understanding where we are and understanding what we do have the authority to fix and what we don't. And what we can fix is where we see our family tomorrow. In other words, putting together the things that you need to put together to get your families safe, okay? To make sure that you have enough of the things that you need, and it's not always about perishable foods. It's not about perishable foods. I've seen people saying, oh, look, this is my collection of food. I don't see any dried beans. I don't see any seeds. I don't see anything that helps to purify your water. I don't see anything that takes care of what happens if they cut the grid off and you don't have any lights. So I think that our people as a community really need to hone in on the what ifs of every aspect. Everything from something hitting us with DARPA, okay? We need to be prepared, and I don't see us as being a prepared group. Bishop, how are you, sir?
Bishop Scott, I just got off the phone with him a few hours ago. What's up, Bishop? Good evening. I told Bishop, I said, Bishop needs to go down to Brunswick, Georgia, and sit with Jesse and Al. Fuck around with that attorney. Golf.
I don't think Al or the other guy would be the same after sitting with Bishop William Scott. Right. I think they will have been schooled after sitting with him.
Well, Bishop Scott wouldn't even be banned because he's a bishop, not the pastor that Kevin Goff singled out. He said black pastors, not black bishops. So you're welcome, Bishop Scott. But that was some racist stuff that he said. But like I said, let it out, baby. Let everybody see. Because even just to go back to that, did y'all even see that the attorneys for the McMichaels were even upset that he did that? They were even upset about it.
All again for me, it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's all a show. It's like I keep waiting to see that little piece of wood with a black and white strip come down and say action. I don't trust any of it. I don't. And especially when you can get both of these guys in the same place at the same time, and now they're going to stand up and say, oh well, let's see what'll push the black community to become more, ensued to a natural riot. I know, let's say that none of their pastors can show up. Let's do that, and let's see what will push their buttons and make them come out in mass. You see, they've touted this lie about us as being ignorant jigaboos and gorillas because of the people that they've hired to go out in these streets and do the things that they are doing. But what they don't understand is that we're sitting back watching. We're watching them. We're not going to get involved in anything that they trigger unless it's something that's naturally occurring and organic in nature.
Hmm. Well, you know what? With that being said, that is a perfect way to wrap it up. 'Cause that was a man, Felicia. I gotta get like Frank said, you spitting bars. He talking about you rapping, but you out rapping some good information. So I thank you for coming on and talking to Gavin. And I'll make sure that you and Gavin will connect and do a good show together. And like you just said, that actually you said it best. The power is always in the people. You just gotta exercise it. Am I right?
I agree. And thank you both for having me. You guys have a wonderful evening. And again, to everyone in the chat, everybody be blessed. You guys take care.
All right, now you too.
Thank
All
you,
right,
man, brother.
Gavin.
Night to everyone, and I'll tune in tomorrow.
Got you. Thank you, sir.
All right, Bernard. Thank you.
Bye.